Okay, so with patch 1.1.0, people have made no attempt to keep their dissatisfaction secret. Many people have stated that they're unhappy with the nerfs that Sheik received and claimed that she needed much more toning down. Even I, even though I was happy she wasn't gutted, felt that much more could have been done. I do feel that people are adjusting their expectations incorrectly, however. I feel that there are certain factors that a lot of people are failing to consider, both to do with the overall game and with Sheik herself. This is something that comes up on the Sheik boards repeatedly, so I just thought I'd give my 2 cents on the issue. In general, I feel a lot of people are too stuck within the competitive 1v1 mindset when it comes to balancing in this game. People complain that Sheik's nerfs weren't enough or that Luigi shouldn't have gotten buffed, since they are both powerful threats in tournament. This isn't the whole picture though. This game, unlike fighters such as Street Fighter or Marvel, has a few more scenarios to consider when it comes to balancing. Now, I'm not Sakurai, I don't know what goes on over at Solar Unlimited, but based off the changes made to this game previously, the following 3 areas are where I feel the main balance decisions are made. 1. Free-for-all matches. 2. 1v1 matches. And 3. Character intent or role. The first of these, in my opinion, is a pretty reasonable explanation for the lack of our desired changes. Characters have their movesets altered based off their performance in free-for-all matches. This balancing area needs to factor in how people will behave and use characters if they decide to team up, attack an opponent distracted with another engagement, or how a player might choose to use an item in conjunction with their character. I can imagine this being a pretty troublesome process, as many more factors are added to the mix in forms of items and perhaps stage hazards. This could make the team reluctant to make large or extensive changes to a character, as a seemingly beneficial change to one character's move on a base level might unbalance their interaction with external elements such as items. Another consideration to remember is that some characters don't excel as much in a free-for-all environment. Scenario: your friends are busy fighting each other, so you have the chance to get in a hard-hitting attack. Sheik on a whole lacks hard-hitting moves, meaning her ability to cause damage in this situation is limited. Bowser on the other hand, who is considered a marginally worse character than Sheik competitively, consists almost entirely of heavy attacks, meaning his advantage in this situation would be greater than Sheik's. To balance this power, Bowser is given a ton of recovery on quite a few of his moves, which happen to be disadvantageous in a competitive environment but are less detrimental here, as the other players have the chance to punish them but are more likely to be distracted by another situation due to the sheer amount of randomness and things going on in a free-for-all. This is why I feel characters like Marv haven't received the buffs such as an auto-cancelling fair. Tip is hurt, and if he had the ability to constantly throw them out with a disjointed hitbox, he might be able to dominate a free-for-all arena. Free-for-all is always a constant consideration for Sakurai and his team, and one that greatly affects how characters perform in a 1v1 environment as well. 1v1 competition is still something Sora needs to consider however, although it's certainly not their main focus. The extent to which they balance the game through this area is harder to judge, as it requires a more specific know-how of how the game's systems are being abused, techniques that are being discovered, and general tournament domination. I would say that their focus on this area is far less than on free-for-alls. I mean, EVO just happened, the biggest fighting game tournament in the world, and the largest Smash 4 tournament in the world. Sheik was clearly a dominant force, as usual, yet after the last patch her nerfs were very minor in comparison to how strong her performance was. It's not unreasonable for me to say that they simply don't pay attention to many tournaments that go on. It seems like they only cause massive overhauls when there is an extreme fan outcry, as there was with Diddy Kong, or when they see domination from characters at one of the tournaments that they run themselves. Call me a little presumptuous, but I'd have to go with Zero on this one and say that his performance at Chokage 2015 was a pretty big influence on the nerfs for Diddy Kong and Captain Falcon that occurred soon after. Sakurai even referenced that tournament in an article and explained how he disliked the play that unfolded. It's not much, but it's enough to convince me that Sakurai and his balanced team pay very little attention to the 1v1 competition, at least under their own initiative. I believe that this is the primary reason that lower tier characters haven't received the buffs that would make them better in the eyes of the competitive community. And the same goes for higher tier characters, except for with nerfs instead of buffs. This paints a bit of a grim picture for me in terms of Smash 4's future balance updates. The third point is probably the one that will cause the most amount of rigidity from future balance changes: character intent or role. The general design process that Sakurai tries to follow, in my eyes, is that every original character, not including clones, will offer something unique to the game and fulfill their own niche, increasing the variety of the cast in terms of playstyle. This is to do with people's requested nerfs to Sheik, which I'll get into very soon. Mario was very clearly supposed to be the all-rounder, with a non-complicated moveset and fairly standard specials, appealing to newcomers. Wii Fit Trainer is all about her goofy reverse hitboxes, while Ryu is all about the tapping and holding of buttons to perform different combos, Street Fighter style. So based on this, I'd say Sheik is supposed to be the quick, agile character that chains almost every one of her moves together well. Take a look at her reveal. While not a true combo by any means, she chains a double jab into a down tilt, then a forward tilt followed by an attempted up smash. It's clear that they wanted her to fill the quick, combo-oriented role. So, going off that, when people say that Sheik has too many combos, recovers too quickly from attacks, or doesn't have enough landing leg on aerials, I honestly don't think these qualms will be addressed. People want nerfs to forward air and forward tilt, but I don't think they'll happen, as they'll impact too much on the identity that the developers wanted for Sheik, even if these advantages do place her above most of the characters in the game in a 1v1 setting. I feel this is supported by the latest balance patch too. The balance team removed 0.5% from Sheik's fair and switched its hitboxes around, but in reality this change is so negligible that they might as well have not done it at all. They might have wanted to nerf Sheik, but they didn't want to go as far as to remove what they think defines the character. A quick, lagless ninja, with similarly lagless moves. This disregard of balance in favour of character roles isn't something that we should be surprised by either. Sakurai has gone on record saying that if they aim for complete fairness, there won't be any personality to Smash Bros. It's clear Sakurai values his concept of personality over game balance, which by extension meshes well with my idea of character intent playing an integral role. So what about Sheik specifically then? How would I balance things? Well, I'm going to try and sound as unbiased as possible here, but I honestly think Sheik is in a pretty good spot. Sheik has great combo potential, a ton of fun and interesting options in tech. While she does have some areas that need toning down, she's in a nice place. If it were my decision, I wouldn't nerf Sheik, but instead bring everyone else up to her level. When I look at Sheik, I see what every character in Smash 4 should be. A capable character with the whole menagerie of options at her disposal at a higher competitive level, but still able to be enjoyed at a lower one. In reality though, most of the cast suffers from a lack of options. Marth lacks approach options and combo ability, while Charizard has a terrible recovery and pretty average specials. So should we remove all the fun and creative options that Sheik has to bring it down to a lower tier level? I don't think so. I'd say to improve everyone else. Give many more characters auto-cancels, let their specials interact with stages and the game in enjoyable and creative ways, like needle fidgeting or bouncing fish, but add a unique element to it. That's the kind of balance feature I want to see for the game. That's in a perfect world, however. Bringing everyone up to that level would be a huge task, one which I don't see the developers doing anytime soon. Plus, I think Sheik is in a good spot, but she's not perfect. There are some changes that I think would be appropriate under the current patching regime. Nerf Fair's range. This thing's range allows for Sheik to have this incredibly dominant neutral game where she can safely poke at opponents with little risk but big payoffs in the way of confirms. I'd say to lower it so that it can still be safely spaced, but there is more risk or difficulty involved in doing so. Vanish needs changes. I have Ari to thank for a few of these, and I find that I agree. Sheik's up B is already incredibly hard to punish. Having a hitbox appear at the end of the move as well as the start is too much. Remove the hitbox and the winbox, allowing people to be rewarded for reading the up B direction more easily. It could also do with a bit less distance, given how Bouncing Fish can cover a lot of her recovery as well. This will also improve opponents' punish ability. Adding more lag to needles. Now I only say a bit, this move is incredibly easy to stuff up. Punishing it in neutral is tough, and it's a bit too safe of a neutralizing option. Give it a few more frames of end lag to make Sheiks think a bit more before using it, as well as making it easier on other characters in neutral. Those are the main things I feel need to be addressed. Sheik is a very delicate character, in that one change could drastically alter her viability if made in the wrong area. I'm open to suggestions though. Try and convince me of another change that might fit. I may agree with you. But yeah, I hope this video has offered a different perspective for people to consider on the topic of balance changes, the Smash Bros production mindset, and Sheik in general. Hopefully before people complain on such things such as patches, they consider all the elements that go into the process.